Good evening, good people. Welcome to another 203K Tuesday. I'm your host, Aaron, the house person, and this is the place you come to find out everything you don't know about the 203K loan and learn how you can use that loan to help create, build, and sustain generational wealth. Look, guys, you know the drill, you know the routine. I talk about that starting lineup. I talk about assembling your 203K starting lineup, that team that's going to help you go from start to end, right? From beginning to end, start to finish. Those folks who you want to make sure that you vet, that you screen, that you interview, that come highly recommended, all of that good stuff in order to make sure you have the strongest team possible in order to navigate this process. Because again, if you have some people on the team who may not be as strong, that could potentially cost you some money. It could potentially cost you some time, and it could potentially cost you some heartache. So today I got one of the star players that will be on your team. And again, that small forward position, that swing man, that 203K consultant that's going to go between you and the contractor on the front end, and then on the back end, the bank and the contractor, at the same time looking out for your best interest and the bank's best interest throughout the entire process. So today, I got the pleasure of having Mr. Garrett Feis on the show. He is with Garrett Feis Remodeling LLC. And if you give me 1 second, I am going to bring him in right now. All right, there we go. Garrett, hey, how are you today?
Doing well, doing well.
Good, good. Glad to hear it. Glad to see you here. Um, so, what I like to do is typically just jump right into the questions, knock those 10 out, and then from there, we talk about you, your business, and pretty much anything else real estate related. That's cool?
Shoot.
All right, here we go. And now, given what I know about your background, these questions should be a walk in the park. And folks, you'll see why I say that, as we go through the questions and of course a little later on. But first question is, do you know the 203K process from start to finish? And are you an active person on the HUD consultant list?
Yes and yes. When we made the changes to the 203K, I didn't want to put my name and my reputation on something that didn't work. So I did a 203K myself. So I've been a buyer. I've been in and out of construction all my adult life, been a home inspector. Um, when we were having issues with the appraisers, I went to appraisal school and got my appraisal license. And my ex-wife was an underwriter for a mortgage company. So yes, I can honestly tell you, I know it from start to finish.
Okay. That's quite a few boxes checked at one time. Okay. Um, what's your 203K consultant ID number?
Uh, 0515, A0515.
8051 Alpha. So you at the beginning. Okay.
Well, there was 515 guys approved before me. I just wasn't fast enough.
515. All right. And when were you added to the list?
1993.
1993. Okay. Um, Now your background. What industry background did you have prior to becoming a 203K consultant?
I used to own the oldest and the largest building inspection company in Chicago, or out of the Midwest. And the Chicago HUD field office knew me. And I got a call from this woman, Judy Haney, one night or one afternoon asking me if I'd be willing to go to Washington to help look at a loan that's not performing. And I said, well, what kind of a loan is it? I'm an inspector. What the hell do you want me for? So she told me it was some kind of construction loan. So I said, sure, I'll go to Washington. Why not? So that's how I got started.
Okay. Okay. So Judy called you in, and then you headed down to Washington, and that's how you got started. That's a very interesting start. I'm pretty sure most don't have that same beginning.
Well, the little old home inspector from Illinois went to Washington and actually made a difference. That's my claim to fame.
I like it. I like it. No, I love it. That's amazing. Wow. Okay, so 93. So that's pretty much how long you've been in the business as far as consulting, since 1993.
Yes, sir.
But prior to that, you had an extensive background in just home inspections in the Midwest
And that and construction.
and construction.
We used to do a lot of inspections for insurance companies, for mortgage companies, for banks, and doing draw inspections, stuff like that. So I had a history there, and that's why Judy thought I would be a good fit to take a look at this loan. That loan was originally developed in 1964, and between 1964 and 1992, they had only done 3,800 loans nationally. And they asked a group of 30 people from around the country to go to Washington and tear it apart and see what we could do to make it more user friendly and better. And the first year we made all the changes to the program, we actually did 9,700 loans that one year.
Wow.
So the changes we made were huge.
Wow. Wow. So after 1 year after the changes, you guys pretty much almost tripled the amount done the entire
30
beginning.
years.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. That's amazing.
That's a fact.
So while I got you here, I think, first of all, thank you for what you did, because when I was first looking to get more information about the 203K loan, I reached out to other realtors, who've been around longer than me, asking them, hey, what do you know about this? How do you do it? Things of that nature. And I either got one or two answers. One, I don't know, or two, stay away from it. And I believe, based off of what you said, just 3,800 done the first 30 years is probably one of the reasons why a lot of people just shied away from it altogether. But tripling that 3,800 in 1 year after that, that after you guys made those changes, that's amazing, man. That's amazing. And I think, I guess, people need to get this type of information, because that's a huge difference. So obviously something went right, when you guys went into the room, came out, and then got through that at least that first year. Something obviously went right with what you guys did. And me personally, again, I just think this is the greatest loan product out there for what it has to offer, what you can do with it, and just the different variances that really people still don't fully understand is available. So, man.
Well, what happened between 64 and 92 is that HUD was processing this file themselves. And you had all these bureaucrats had to put their fingers on it. And we looked at it and said, you know what, at the end of the day, it's a regular construction loan. Why don't we let DE underwriters underwrite these things? And we basically took the processing away from HUD, because it used to take, 6 months to get a case closed. It was terrible. And the program was great, but the mechanics weren't.
Okay. So it wasn't as fluid as it should have been. It just didn't flow very smooth.
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay. All right. So next question: do you have, and I think I know the answer to this, but do you have any additional credentials or certifications outside of being a consultant and home inspector?
Well, I'm a certified building inspector, certified project manager, a licensed general contractor, licensed appraiser, father of 9 kids.
That in itself gives you good experience.
Yeah. I know it cost me $1,000 to feed them all at Thanksgiving now.
Whew. Yeah, that's one bit potluck. So since we're here, 9 kids, grandkids?
About 17,
Okay.
18, something like that.
No, I understand. They start to add up. I'm like, okay, carry the one. Okay. All
Yeah,
right.
they multiply.
All right. So, in your long, illustrious career, how many, in a rough number, because again, it's been a while, but how many 203K loans or rather inspections would you say you've completed since your 010515 number was assigned?
I'm just going to take a guess and say maybe 10,000.
Maybe 10,000. So you've seen a few.
After we made the changes to the program, we were the only game in town in Chicago.
Mhm.
And we were averaging between 30 and 50 of those a month. I mean, it was just absolutely insanity. I had to hire guys, I had to put more staff on. I mean, it was just crazy. But we had so much work going on. And I did that for 12 years before I retired and moved down to Atlanta. Now, when I moved down to Atlanta, I continued to do them, but instead of having the big staff and everything else, I was doing them physically myself.
Okay.
And right now, last year, I did 87 of them myself. And the whole state of Georgia only did 130. So wouldn't General Mills want to have that percentage of the cereal business?
Yeah, that's a great percentage as far as market share. 87 out of 150, man.
130.
I mean, I'm sorry, 130.
Yeah, don't cheat me here.
Not taking anything away from you. That's what are we talking about? That's like what, 60, 70%? That's a lot. Yeah. That's
Well, I'm now that I'm semi-retired, and I moved down here in 2002, and I wanted to walk away completely, and that, but a lot of the lenders wouldn't let me. I just kept getting these phone calls and da da da. So finally, I said, "All right, I'll start doing them myself." And down here, I'm averaging, I would say, probably 50 to 80 a year. Someplace in that range.
so I would say to I'm pretty sure you did, but that's definitely something that you should take as a compliment that they want to hold you captive because of your experience, your expertise, and I'm sure the good work that you've been providing over the years as well. So, I mean, salute to you. Thank you for all the things that you've done, and on behalf of the lenders who try to keep you in the business, I thank you for them as well.
Well, I have my son Garrett Jr. I have my stepson Drew, and I have my grandson Jeremy. They're all working for me too now at this point. I just turned 70. I'm tired. I don't want to do this anymore. So they're taking over all the stuff on the streets for me. But they're all doing their own things, all these years. And that's so, out of that 130 and that they probably did 80% of those.
Oh,
Well,
wow. Okay.
we got a pretty good captive business here in the state of Georgia. But now we're covering South Carolina, we're going into northern Florida, going into Alabama, going into Tennessee. And I didn't want to do all that windshield time,
Mhm.
but I talked to the boys and I explained to them that it's just good customer service. Because if the lenders are asking us to go that far, there's evidently a problem up there that they don't like and they'd rather have us go.
Mhm.
So my boys agreed to do it. So we cover basically the whole Southeast.
Yeah, you do. Okay, good deal, man. Family business. I love it.
Maybe that'll be my legacy. Who knows?
No, I mean, no. At least I'm sure there's more. I'm absolutely sure there's more, but this is absolutely a part of your legacy for sure. Um,
But you go to Chicago today and you mention the 203K, and they're going to tell you that's the guy that wears cowboy boots with a suit. That's how they remember me up there wearing my cowboy boots.
Cowboy boots with the suit. So, okay, while we're here, where did that come about, or how did that come about?
I had an accident when I was a kid, and I had some skin burned off my ankle, and the regular cut of a shoe went right into the scar tissue. So I always wore boots from
Okay,
the time I was 5 years old.
okay,
And then, plus, I like them. I think they look sharp. I wear my cowboy boots almost every day.
okay. And then so the suit was just just the decor for the job, and the boots were just your preference.
Yes, sir.
Cowboy boots with a suit. All right, I love it.
Well, my daddy always taught me to say, leave them with something you remember you by. And if that's it, so be it.
And like you said, even if you go up there today and say 203K, even if they don't know your name, they're going to remember the guy with the cowboy boots and the suit.
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
Okay. Amazing. So as far as software, do you use like a third party software, or at this point had you created your own?
Well, in the beginning, we used to type the forms that we had generated, through HUD.
Mhm.
And I got to realize that, my girls were typing things. A hot water heater is a hot water heater is a hot water heater. So I talked to my computer guy and said, Ed, can you develop some kind of a program? And we did come up with the first working computer program that was built in Access.
Mm.
But unfortunately, he got bought out by some other company and he wasn't allowed to continue to do it. But there's other guys that have picked up the software. And the one I use, the one I like is Corporate Niche, a guy named Larry Madison from Bozeman, Montana. He's got a really good program. It's fast to use. It's user friendly.
Okay. Corporate niche. Okay. Cool. 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 Um, so what would you say is the most, and this may be difficult to answer because you got a long list, 10,000. That's a lot to choose from. But what would you say is the most difficult 203K that you worked
Well, I'll answer that backwards. And what I would say to you is the easiest one to do is a full gut rehab because I know everything in that building is going to be brand new.
on?
The difficult ones to do are the ones that you got a little bit here and a little bit there and a little bit over there. And that gets frustrating, and you tend to miss things if you have, 200 different line items, as opposed to 20. But it's the little nitpicky ones that drive you nuts.
Hmm. Interesting. Okay. So the full gut rehab, where everything's going to be brand new, is the easier ones.
Yes,
Interesting.
sir.
Okay.
Now, I have a floor plan drawing program that if I draw the floor plan out, it gives me a full blown material list. So all I'm doing is drawing the floor plans, taking the numbers from this program, putting it into this program. But if this program tells me there's 8,206 square feet of drywall in that building, that's what it is. I'm not guessing at that number. It tells you how many, 410 lineal feet of baseboard, how many, 82 square yards of carpet. I mean, I've broken it down to a scientific process. And I know all my numbers are right. The only thing, I might differ is that the dollars versus one contractor versus another.
Wow. Wow. Okay. And is that's something that you kind of created yourself, or just one that you use?
I created the process, because having my general contracting background and that you always had to measure everything out. You had to figure out what your materials were before you could give a bid on a job. And, to be a good consultant, you've got to have not only the home inspection background, but you also have to have the construction or the cost estimating background. Those are the two things that make a good consultant.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. I'm sorry. And if you see me looking down, that's because I'm taking notes. And I tell folks they always need to have that pen ready, piece of paper, something to write on. It was a napkin, but make sure you take notes because you just never know that one idea you hear may be something that just changes your life. So,
Sure.
okay. So the last question, which is going to be sound kind of crazy, but if someone were to say, "Hey, he sounds like he's experienced. I've heard some things. 10,000, okay, that's a lot, but I don't really know because I don't know. But would you happen to have some clients, current or past, that people could speak to, and just kind of get an idea of how it is to work with you and what your process is and things of that nature?"
Absolutely. I've got probably about 35 or 40 open files right now. And then I can just reach in my drawer here and pick one. I don't have any drama on my jobs. I know what I'm doing. I don't let these things get sideways. I don't let contractors take advantage of homeowners, or Conversely, homeowners taking advantage of contractors. I do know what authority I carry, and sometimes you have to protect people even though they don't want to be protected.
Mm.
But my deals are all good deals. I don't have any drama on mine.
Okay, good deal, good deal. Well, that wraps up the question aspect of things, as far as the interview part. But I do have, of course, a couple of follow-up questions because, again, someone who's done 10,000, over 10,000 K inspections, um, like I said, you've definitely seen some things. But before I get there, the phrase "live rent free" and "let me live rent free, let me show you how." What does that mean to you?
I'm sitting at my pool on a Sunday morning, and that thought just came into my head.
Mhm.
And I started thinking about it and digesting it. And a couple of days later, I said, all right, look, if somebody in Chicago, and now these are, 1996 numbers, okay? But
Absolutely.
at that time, you could buy a three flat in Chicago, brick building, gut the whole thing, and you'd pay it about 75,000 for that.
Mhm.
You could gut the whole thing and come back brand new for about 100,000.
Mm.
So you had $175,000 note, right? Figure 10%, you're paying 1,700 a month.
Mhm.
But the two apartments above would rent for 1,000 each.
Mm.
So they would be paying your nut. So I took it. I took an ad out in the Chicago Sun-Times one Sunday morning in the real estate section, and so help me God, my girls wanted to kill me. My office wound up as a call center. Every time those poor girls put the phone down, it would ring again, and they'd be giving me dirty looks every time I walked out the office. But yeah, I came up with that idea. Plus, there's other things if you want to be creative that your people probably don't know and don't understand. The 203K is based on no more than 4 living units.
Mhm.
So why don't we take a six flat duplex the first two floors and then put 2 units on top?
Mm.
You wind up with a four flat. It's
Mm.
not what it is what is it going to be? Let's take an eight flat.
Mhm.
Do those duplex all the floors together. Let's think about condo conversions. If you set the building up properly with all its own utilities and everything else like that,
Mhm.
a month or two after you're done, you can go down and file your condominium documents and sell them off as condos.
Mm.
I used to do a lot of stuff with investors doing that because there was big money involved in it at the end of the day. So, a lot of 203K people don't think like that. They don't think outside the box like I do. I'm always looking for that edge out there. I want something different. I want them shiny new boots. um, so there's things like that you can do. You just have to remember it's the after improved value. What is it going to be? Now in California, the big thing today is the ADU buildings,
Mhm.
accessory dwellings.
Mhm.
And a lot of people are taking up their two-car garages, putting a second story up and making it another apartment.
Mm.
So now the property becomes a two flat. The only issue there is that zoning has to allow it.
Oh.
But I've done some here in Atlanta where we bought a single family house and we built 3 units next to it. And it flies as long as zoning allow it because the end use of that property will be no more than 4 living units.
Mm.
So be creative. Think about it. Think about what you can do. Don't just walk past the six flat and say, "Oh, I can't do that." Because yes, you can.
I love it. Yeah, definitely. Thinking outside the box is critical. Being as creative as possible, and like you're saying, sticking to the letter of the law as far as the finished use of it, right? That finished product. So that is amazing. So now let me ask you: in your time, have you seen a lot of folks take advantage of the mixed use aspect of it, where you may have 2 units and a commercial storefront down below?
Well, we don't have any mixed unit here down in Atlanta. I mean, there's very few buildings like that. So it's not even a question. But up in Chicago, yeah, we did quite a few of them.
Okay.
But you had to be concerned about the percentages,
Right.
because if the first floor was commercial, the second floor could be residential. And the percentage came out to fit a 49-51, because we counted the interior stairwell to the second floor as part of the residential. So that's how you got that combination.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, the third floor, it's 33%. And then fourth flat building or 4-story buildings goes back to 25.
Okay. Yep. Adjust
But,
those percentages. Uh-huh.
you hear of granny flats. It's an old term. A lot of people are finishing off their basement. And as long as they have a walkout basement, they can get the value out of finishing it off and turning it into a separate apartment.
Mm-hmm.
Or if they want to, they can rip the roof off the house, put a complete second story on it, put an interior stairwell going up, and you got a 2-unit then.
So I don't think too many people are really thinking that outside the box, where it's like, okay, I have, a single family, and I just rip the roof off and add an additional level for a second unit. That absolutely is outside the box.
Well, all right, let's say if you got a 2,000 square foot building, right? Single family ranch house, and you rip the roof off, you can put a 1,000 square foot apartment in the back and a 1,000 square foot in the front. So you wind up with 3 living units. You can live in a house and get the rent off the other one. And rental income today is just getting out of sight. I mean, there's people paying, $1,800-$1,900 for 2-bedroom units down here in Atlanta. So, there's always the demand for it. Plus, in our market down here, we've got a lot of studios coming in. Tyler Perry has this great big studio down where the old Army base used to be.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think MGM just bought 300 or 400 acres out on the other side of Atlanta that they're putting in another studio over there. So we've got a lot of transient people coming in and out. People that live in California but will come to Atlanta to work for a week or a month or whatever, and then they'll go back.
Mm-hmm.
So the rental demand here is huge at this point in time.
Yeah, I've heard that Atlanta is definitely growing, and then also some of those more expensive states where people are just like getting out of there as fast as they possibly can to go to areas where the cost of living is a lot less compared to where they are, i.e., California, New York, things of that nature. And people are kind of heading south, or from California heading east, southeast. Wow. Okay.
I know I'm going to move to the Bahamas, get away from them all.
Nothing wrong with fun in the sun. Little island time, nice warm breeze, and a whole lot of water. That's good.
Yeah, really.
I mean, you deserve it. You've done. I mean, again, over 10,000.
Well, 10,000 is a guess and that, but I mean, if I do the math real quick, if I did 50 a month in Chicago for 12 years, I mean, there's 6,000 right there.
Mm-hmm.
So did I do another 4,000 down here in 10 years? Probably.
Probably, yeah.
It's an educated guess, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, even if it was 9,000, I don't know too many people who can say, "Hey, I've consulted on 9,000 different Ks," and
Well, there's a couple of guys around the country. Yeah, in your neighborhood, I think Bill Evans.
okay,
Bill Evans is a great consultant. He's got a bunch of guys working for him. He does a ton of them. Peter Lustwig up in New Jersey, he's really good. Mike Young is out in Arizona right now, but Mike's got a consortium of people that work for him all over the country.
okay.
Stephen DePaul is another big player. I mean, there's a lot of guys out there that are doing multiple things because they've learned how to play this game
Mm-hmm.
and be successful at it.
So, what does your process look like if you get a new client and they have some ideas on what they want to do? What does it look like working with Garrett?
Well, the first thing I do is called a feasibility study. I'm going to meet them on site. First question I'm going to ask is, how much did you pay for this building? And they'll tell me they paid 100,000. I'm like, okay, great. Now then I'm going to look at the realtor and say, Mr. Realtor, what would this place be worth if it was all cleaned up and spit shine? What could you sell it for? So he may tell me 150,000. So it doesn't take a brain surgeon to figure out if I'm buying it for 100, it's worth 150. I got a $50,000 budget, right?
Hmm.
However, the third question I asked the borrower is, what have you been pre-qualified for? So they may tell me they've been pre-qualified for 135. So now I know that that $35,000 is their maximum ability to finance construction-wise. So I'm going to take a walk through the house real quick, 10 minutes, and I'm going to start adding up numbers in my head. And I'm going to come back to them and I'm going to say, look, guys, I'm really sorry. I'm seeing 40, 50 grand a year or the mandatory stuff. This is just not very feasible for you. And I'll kill the deal right then and there. Or I'll come back and I'll tell them, look, I'm seeing maybe 20, 22, something like that. And that gives you a window of about 15,000 for desires and upgrades and things of that nature. So you've always got to determine, what are your limiting factors? I don't want to go out and write up specs for $200,000 when these people can only afford 125. And that, it's not a good way to do business. You're taking advantage of those people, the way I see it. If they can't afford it, they can't afford it. There's always a limiting factor somewhere. You just have to identify it.
Absolutely. Makes complete sense.
So my second process is I'm going to walk them through the building, and I'm going to show them all the mandatory things. They're going to show me all the desires. At the same time, I'll be making all my notes. Then I'll put my pad down and I'll take my camera, go through the building a third time, and I'll be taking all the photographs that I like to take. Then I'll put the camera down and I'll go through a fourth time and I'll draw my floor plan out. So I walk these buildings 4 times usually. And my on-site stuff is usually about 2 hours it takes me to do it. So then once I've assembled all the on-site information, I come home, generate the paperwork, takes me a couple hours to get it out. And then we get it off to the appraiser and to the lender.
Okay. So interesting. So after walking the building 4 times, you have pretty much seen every nook and cranny of the entire space. So that's,
I don't miss much. Plus, one of my tricks that I use is that I like to take overall pictures. But if it's something I need to remember, I'll take a close-up of that.
Gotcha.
Because this way, when I go back through my photos, I'm like, oh crap, I forgot to add that. But the way I work as an individual is I understand how fast you have to be. These people have a closing date that they have signed that they need to meet, or they could lose their earnest money or have to pay penalties or extension fees. So meeting that closing date is critical. So in my process, I work one day, I stay home the next day and do the paperwork. So you have all my paperwork within 24 hours. Once the lender gets my paperwork, they can go ahead and order the appraisal. Then in my package, my final package that I send out, I have a duplicate of my estimate, but it doesn't print the dollars. And that's the document that the borrowers give to the contractors and have the contractors bid on that document. Now, it's a critical process because, number one, they're going to be assured that all the contractors are bidding apples to apples. Nobody's trying to upsell them. Nobody's going to start forgetting things. And secondarily, since I've already done all the writing, the contractors don't have to write anything. All they have to do is pencil in a number, sign and send it back. So chances are they're going to get those bids back a lot faster. And then once the contractor chooses, or the borrower chooses a contractor, they send his estimate back to me. I go through it, make sure those are legit numbers, and then I adjust mine up or down, and that's coming close to his. Because by FHA rule, I'm not allowed to mirror the contractor's numbers. And that, but the bottom line is if you don't pay the contractor what he's asking for, he ain't going to do the job. And you're never going to send 2 guys out and come back with the exact same number.
Right.
So I did one a couple of months ago where I did the thing out at like 262, huge $260,000 budget. Contractor came in at 264. $2,000. And I'm like, what the hell is the likelihood of that happening?
Yeah, that's pretty close.
It don't happen often, I promise you. But, so during this process, if we can order the appraisal the first week, it typically takes the appraiser about 2 weeks to get his stuff done. And in the meantime, the lender is getting, all their stuff, paperwork they need. Then the borrower is dealing with the contractors. And then, 30, 35, 40 days later, we're ready to close this loan.
Hmm.
Now, my personal best was 19 days. From the day I did that inspection to the day they closed that loan, 19 days.
Wow.
But you have to have everybody on game.
Mm-hmm.
You got to have a good consultant who knows what he's doing. The lender knew what they were doing. The appraiser actually knew what he was doing. The contractor was a 203K contractor. He's done several of them over the years. So everybody just boom, 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 get all the documents together, slam it all together and close the loan. Typically, I would say 40 to 45 days is a typical FHA 203K closing.
19, man.
Yeah.
So I mean that's a complete synergy there. That's like you said, when you have that strong team of experienced people who are able to get through that process as one. So that's amazing. Now that 19-day one, was that a actual purchase or was that a refi?
No, it's a purchase.
Okay.
Now, we all talk about the team effort and everything else like that, but so help me God, this is a team effort.
Mm-hmm.
If you got somebody that doesn't know what they're doing, everybody suffers.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm getting to the point now where I get new lenders calling me, asking me to do work, and I'm interviewing them and I'm turning the work down. And they're like, oh my God, you came so highly recommended. And I'm like, yeah, I know my job.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't have the time or the patience anymore to teach you it.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'm 70 years old and I'm getting old and cranky and I know it. But unfortunately, when you're looking for a 203K lender, you want to, I heard you mention in one of your reports, the endorsement report. And that's a great tool. And that gives you an idea who's doing what neighborhoods and everything else.
Mm-hmm.
But if you want to go to 2 or 3 renovation lenders and you want to interview them, see how many they've done. And if you're dealing with a guy that's done 2 or 3 of them, he's not your guy. Because the problem is he's going to run into an issue and it's going to take him a week to figure that issue out. And you can't buy that week back.
Mm-hmm.
It's gone. And then a week later, he runs into another issue. And meanwhile, 90 days later, you're still trying to get this loan closed. Deal with the professional people that know what they're doing. Just like I tell people that, anytime they have to go to the HUD list, it's like throwing a dart at a dartboard for consultants because they have no idea what they're going to get.
Mm-hmm.
Hire the guys with the lower numbers.
Mm-hmm.
Guys with the lower numbers are the guys that have been around a long time. So like my numbers, 0515, you want to hire a guy that's 2017 or something? No, he might have done 1K a year and a half ago. So, but yeah, if you put the right team together and that, and some of these lenders do have regular guys. I do a lot of stuff with Homebridge. I do a lot of stuff with Loan Depot. I do a lot of stuff with Academy Mortgage. Advisors Mortgage up in New Jersey. I do a lot of stuff with them. These are the big players. They're the big shots, and they know what they're doing. They've already built their teams.
Right.
So the
I've
team.
heard of the first two, Homebridge, Loan Depot. I've definitely heard of those two. Advisory or advisor.
Advisors Mortgage up in New Jersey.
Okay.
As a matter of fact, I said earlier there were 30 some odd people in these meetings back in 92 and 93.
Mm-hmm.
There's only 2 of us left. Me and Jim Reagan, who runs Advisor Mortgage up in New Jersey.
Oh wow. Okay. So he definitely got some experience then.
Academy Mortgage is really good at doing them.
All right. Man. So do you think, or let me ask you this: how do you think your mixed background? So, if I'm not mistaken, construction management in college, um, architectural engineer, of course, the home inspection, uh, and appraiser as well. Um, what I know all of that helped in some aspect. Now, as
Yeah.
far as a consultant is concerned, do you think um, all of those aspects are needed, or just something that could be a really, really good bonus to have if you're in this position as a 203K consultant?
To be able to do the job, you need to know how to inspect a building.
Mhm,
Now, maybe you're not a home inspector, but you need to know how to do it.
mhm,
Then you need to know how to cost estimate,
mhm.
because that's what a consultant is. He's a hybrid between a home inspector and a cost estimator. And I'd like to interrupt and back up a little bit here. There's a few other things I wanted to say for your people. Um, there's an association being developed. It's called ARC, Association of Renovation Consultants. They're a group of guys getting together, trying to organize this and standardize a lot of it. Then there's another big software guy too. It's called RLS, um, Residential Lending Software. They put out a pretty good program too for consultants. So I wanted to make sure that I wasn't being biased going one way or the other.
Okay.
But no, this over the 30 years and that, it's been a wonderful deal from both me and my family. We've always made good money, and that I was never no drama. Just go in and do my work every day and come on home.
Okay. So downtime. I think I saw, and I could be wrong. Do you guys kind of where is it? Oh, work with like dog rescue?
Oh, yeah, we foster
Okay.
dogs and that, and Dee's got them all chased outside now, so they're all quiet. But I've got two of my own, and we foster two. Now, as soon as they find forever homes for them, then we bring another one in, and that it's a rescue type thing.
Okay. That's beautiful. That's beautiful. I love it.
Now
Uh,
you'll see me as an individual. You see my camo here.
uh-huh.
I go hunting Friday afternoon, and I hunt Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday morning.
Okay.
So I hunt 4 days a week, and then I work three.
Okay. That's a pretty good schedule. I mean, again, the 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 enjoyment side should be more than the work side, especially since you've worked so hard so long. Yeah, you absolutely deserve to be able to go out there and hunt as many days as you feel. So hold on, wait. So in 3 days of work, you're still doing between 50 and 80 per month.
Oh, no, no, no. The 50 a month was back when I was in Chicago.
Okay, okay, okay. Gotcha.
Last year I did 87 total here.
That's right. That's right. Okay, that's right. All right. Okay,
But
great.
I also have a laptop and a hotspot out at my deer camp camper. And that, so after I'm done getting out of the tree stand, I'm
Gotcha. Multitasking. Okay, okay. So even though you come out to have a little fun, you still got a little bit of work that you might get in as
yeah,
well.
and I'm sitting in the tree stand texting and and all that, but there's never a dull moment, I promise you. I've earned it, and I feel very fortunate that I am in the position I am now, and that I am financially stable because of the 203K. And I used to live paycheck to paycheck too, and I've heard from a lot of other guys that I trained years ago will get a hold of me once in a while and tell me that how well they're doing and how I was able to change their lives. And so it's been a very gratifying experience for me as an individual and person that I was able to make a difference in somebody else's life. Now I've got three of my kids. and that out there will pick up the pieces when I'm dead and gone. And the only thing I told them is you can't change it to company name.
I know that's
Garrett Feis Construction Consulting.
right. There you go. Keep it
That's what
going.
I told them. You can't change the name, even if your grandkids are doing it. This way, I'll never be forgotten.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, I know I won't forget you, that's for sure. And the watchers, the people who see, this episode, because again, video lives on. You, sir, will not be forgotten. Your contribution to this program, and really the fact that, because this program really can change lives. From the standpoint, like you said, live rent free, mortgage free. Um, to have that as an option for people, especially in like today's economy where, like you said, in 1900 for a couple of bedrooms and a bathroom, that's a lot of money. But if
Yeah.
you have a situation where there's multiple units, you're living in one and have somebody else paying for, their units that they're renting and ultimately paying your mortgage, then, that affords you some things in life that you possibly wouldn't be afforded if you were just paying out every month, where now you're potentially getting some cash flow. Worst case scenario, you're keeping your money in your pocket every month. So for what you've done to help streamline that process, again, can't be thanked enough. And absolutely, if I have to go build a statue myself, I'm going to call as many people as I need to. We're going to get it done, that's for sure.
Um, Let me touch on one other thing too. In 1996, we were still able to use it. Investors were still able to use the 203K.
Mhm.
The problem was there was some fraud going on around the country, and instead of HUD trying to figure out what happened and fixed it, they just pulled the plug. They just pulled the plug and they put a moratorium on it. Now it's still on the books, and with a signature, they could bring it back out again. But I've taught regular Joe Schmo people how to get multiple properties. And got some customers here that are on their fourth or fifth property.
Mm.
And the way that we do it is you do a 203K and don't worry about the interest rate or anything else because it's short-term money.
Mhm.
After the house is remodeled and it's all done, you refi out of the 203K into a Fannie Mae product or a VA, whatever. Get out of the 203K. Now, that doesn't preclude you from going 6 blocks away and doing another K then. You can only do one at a time.
Right.
But you keep doing the same process, the same process, the same process. And if you do it twice, once every 2 years, in 10 years, you're going to have 8 or 10 buildings. And they're all going to be up to date, modernized, no maintenance issues and what have you. So if you want to build wealth through the 203K program, there is a way to do it.
Now, thank you for sharing that, Jim, because I've mentioned it, not specifically that, but mentioned the fact that you can actually, create, build, and sustain generational wealth using this product, if you do it the right way, right? If you have the right people with you, people such as yourself who are, again, a wealth of knowledge and letting you know this is a possibility. So for other folks to hear that, not from me, from someone who is as experienced as you, I think that will definitely resonate with them and become that much more believable because, again, it can be done. It has been done. And it will be done moving forward. So, question: why do you think a program like this today, 2021, still isn't really known about?
I've been saying the same comment for 30 years. This is HUD's best kept secret.
Mhm.
However, if you understand who HUD or FHA really is, they're an insurance company. They just tell the lenders that if you loan this money according to our guidelines, that we'll insure it. So HUD has no impetus to go out there and advertise it because the default rate on 203Ks is like 1/67%
Mm.
versus a regular B purchase loan is like 4%. Okay. And HUD looks at it and says, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Right. That's their attitude. So they depend on the lenders to go out there and sell this program. And we, back in 90, probably 94, I guess, I'm sitting in my basement watching TV on a Saturday morning, and all of a sudden, here come the commercial for 203Ks. And I had no idea it was coming. And I grabbed the TV set, and I'm like, oh my God, you're kidding me. But they did it for 2 weeks and then cut it off. But yeah, this is HUD's best kept secret. But now that Fannie Mae is involved, and you got Freddie Mac's got their version out now, and you got VA, these loans are becoming more and more popular every day. I mean, I'm seeing probably about 50-50 203K versus Fannie Mae today. Hey, Princess.
Yes,
that's a Foster.
Okay.
Yeah, but I mean, if you think about it, though, even if somebody buys a house that's 10 years old, it's going to need new floor coverings. It's going to need a new paint job on the inside. Probably maybe some appliances. Maybe a little bit of deck repair or something like that. But you start adding that up, and you're talking about $25,000 worth of work. People are buying these houses, putting all that stuff on their credit cards, and they're spending every single weekend for a whole year painting their house, when you could have it all done at one time and then move into a nice clean place and not have to make any mortgage payments until you move in.
Very true. Another one of those bonuses, and another one of those things that people don't know is available with the loan, that you can roll in those mortgage payments for up to 6 months. So
now that's not a gimme, though.
Right.
Now, a lot of people think that is. It's only how long the place is under construction.
Right. Well, yeah.
Doesn't mean you get 6 months worth of free payments, or they're not free anyway. But yeah, so a lot of people have that misconception that they can get 6 months in there, and it's not, because if it's a 2-month job, then that's all the lenders are going to let you finance is 2 months.
Right. Yeah. Absolutely.
And I want to go back to and touch on my experience as an appraiser. I went to appraisal school just to get the education, because I wanted to be able to fight with appraisers eye to eye. I've never done an appraisal, but I didn't want to. I wanted the knowledge that they had. So when I saw a bad appraisal come through, then I could challenge it. And I realized too that appraisers are trained and educated to derive all their information from history. That's where they get all their information from, is from the past.
Right.
Now we're asking these guys to look into the future, and they are so discombobulated they can't figure it out. So I took it upon myself to go to appraisal school, get my license, and then I could digest an appraisal, and I could tell the appraiser, hey man, you can do this, you can change that, you can go that way. Then all of a sudden I'd make the deal work.
So I mean, so you just gone above and beyond what a lot of people would have done in order to make sure that you were in the best position to best help the folks that you're servicing.
Well, I had that New York mentality of screw you, watch me. And yeah, I don't let anything stand in my way. I've got tunnel vision and get out of my way, because I do, and I've learned it. I've learned a lot of things with this program, and I've done a lot of things that, like I said earlier, are way outside the box that most people wouldn't think about. But that's that goofy mind of mine going way off here in left field someplace, and I have a lot of good ideas that don't work. But so yeah, I'm a unique individual in that, because there's nobody else in the country that's got that hands-on experience in that I've experienced the last 30 years. There's nobody else out there like it. So I hope to pass that down to my younger generation, and that, so they can continue doing the same goofy things that I do.
Well, I think as long as they stay by your coattail and just listen, they can't help but to pick up on these things. Man,
My boys are good. They've never tried to reinvent the mousetrap on me, and that they've always done what I've told them to do the way I've told them to do it, and they're very successful. You know,
mhm.
Garrett Jr. on his own has probably done 45 or 50, maybe last year. And then Jeremy does them part time, so he probably did 10 or 12.
Mhm.
And Drew, I use Drew a lot on the Fannie Mae stuff because he doesn't like the FHA rules. Fannie Mae is so much more easy, lax. But I mean, collectively between the four of us and that, we probably did 160, 180, maybe loans last year.
Pretty solid. Man,
Yeah, been a trip.
man, that's all right.
Well, I'll also offer to you, and that if you want to come up with another list of questions, or you want to pick my brain a little bit more, whatever's left of it, I'd be more than happy to sit down with you for another hour and interview. It's some other date or some other point, or if you want to do a part 2 or a part 5, make it like Twitter, right? Oh no,
Absolutely.
that's not.
Absolutely. Yeah, yeah. Yes, because
Oh, TikTok. That's the one that's got part 2 and part 3, right?
well, you know what? I'm still. I know about it. I don't know how to navigate it all that well. So I'm gonna say yes if that's what you say, because I'm not sure.
Well, that's where the grandgirls come in. So again, sir, if I can help you in any way, and you feel free to get a hold of me or your viewers too. And that I don't mind taking that phone call because my option or my view at this point is to try to help people understand and try to help them through the process. So it's purely just for them, not focused on me.
Gotcha, gotcha. That's a great point of view, and I think those who are um, stepping in and acting in a service capacity, life will reward you many times over. So again, I mean, I thanked you a few times, but I'm going to continue to, because it doesn't go unnoticed, the things that you've done. And we just met not too long ago, but again, just from my research and from hearing you speak, um, I know that you've helped a lot of people, and like you just said, willing to continue to help people. So that's a great thing. We need more people like that in this world. So on behalf of those who you help and the ones you will help, again, thank you, thank you, thank you. And for those who would like to get in contact with you, how can they do so?
My email address is Garrett, Garrett,
Mhm.
1461 at outlook.com.
Okay.
My phone number is 404-925-7163. And it doesn't matter what part of the country you're in and that, because the program is a national program, and the rules are the rules all over. So, but I get a lot of calls from lenders that say, Garrett, I got a loan in Colorado. Oh my God, it's upside down. How do we fix this thing?
And you're there to save the day. That's all right.
Give them the best of my education and my experience. And that's what I tell customers too, is that when you hire me, you get the best of my education, my experience, and my advice. And if you don't like my advice, it's okay, because I don't get offended, but I'll give it to you anyway. So,
Well, Garrett, I appreciate your time. Appreciate you dropping the gems that you did, and just again, just being you, really. So I look forward to speaking to you again, and I'll be definitely calling you offline to pick your brain a little more, and we'll put together another session so that way we can bring that to the people, and really so they can continue to see how much of a wealth of knowledge you are, and again how much you're here to help people. So thank you. I want you to go ahead and enjoy the rest of your day.
yeah, thanks for asking me to be on. And that, I that's my mission now, is help people do the impossible. All right, my man. Thank you very much. And
All right, thank you, thank you, and thank you guys for watching. And I will see you guys the next 203K Tuesday. Signing out. Be sure to like, subscribe, share, and ring that bell. Thanks for watching.